Good evening. The Western Regional Health Authority, WRHA, has frozen all vacation leave over the next 2 months. Now, this is due to skeletal staff treating swelling numbers of COVID-19 patients at the 4 major hospitals in the region. Approximately 15% of staff working at the Falmouth Hospital in Trelawney, Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James, Noel Holmes Hospital in Hanover, and at the Savannah Lamar Hospital in Westmoreland are in isolation or quarantine due to the coronavirus infection or exposure. 130 healthcare workers in the WRHA are recovering from the virus amid a steady increase in patient volume at the 4 main hospitals in the region. Dr. Brian James, president of the Medical Association of Jamaica, MAJ, says the WRHA has no other alternatives at this time. He said that the decision by the WRHA is not unique because the Southeast Regional Health Authority has also taken a similar approach. The WRHA directive suspending vacation leave came Monday in a letter from Celia Hogan, Director of Human Resources Management, and was circulated to all parish managers, chief executive officers, parish personnel officers, and regional personnel officers. Now, our news team spoke with Dr. Delroy Frey, clinical coordinator at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, who gave us an update on the conditions of patients and healthcare staff who have COVID-19.
We are observing what is happening. We are seeing more patients coming in for admission than before. So we have to keep a tab on it. We are able to deal with that capacity. However, at the same time, there are staff that is going off sick. So we encourage people that if you were going on leave, if you could delay that going off until we get over this hump. On the 24th, that was Monday, we had 22 doctors off at Cornwall, 4 at Savlamar, none in Noel Holmes, and 2 in Falmouth. Nursing staff at Falmouth on Monday, the 37th, nursing staff at Cornwall, 16 for Savlamar, 1 patient care person from Noel Holmes, and 12 from Falmouth Hospital. That is our situation. And on Monday, these were the numbers of COVID patients we had in hospital. At Cornwall, we had 64 positive with 21 suspects. In Savlamar, they had 53 positive. At Noel Holmes, they had 13, 7 positive, 6 suspects. And in Falmouth Hospital, they had 22 positive with 7 suspects. So if you look at that overall, there has been an increase, and it has affected staff. So we have to monitor that carefully, and that's what we are doing.
We go now to tonight's COVID-19 update, where Jamaica reported 527 new cases of COVID-19 and 6 virus-related deaths yesterday. Now, this increases the total of cases of the virus since the start of the pandemic to 121,963, and the death toll from the virus now to 2,615. Of the newly reported cases, there were 301 females and 225 males, ranging in age from 1 day to 98 years. In tonight's COVID-19 parish breakdown, Kingston and St. Andrew recorded 250 cases, St. Catherine 106 cases, Clarendon recorded 43 cases, St. James 33 cases, St. Thomas recorded 24 cases, Westmoreland and St. Mary recorded 14 cases each, Manchester recorded 13 cases, Portland 11, St. Anne 10, Trelawney recorded 6 cases, St. Elizabeth recorded 2 cases, while Hanover recorded 1 case. In the meantime, the latest victims include 2 males aged 28 and 84 from Kingston and St. Andrew, an 83-year-old female and a 16-year-old male from St. Catherine, a 74-year-old male from Manchester, and an 89-year-old female from St. Anne. 4 of the deaths were previously reported as under investigation. The deaths occurred between August 2021 and January 2022. The country has also recorded 198 new recoveries increasing the total of recovered persons now to 68,749, with 11,814 confirmed active cases. Continuing with the news tonight, a female restaurant operator was fatally shot at her business place in Great River, St. James yesterday. Her son, who was also shot and injured in the incident, died while being treated in hospital. The victims have been identified as 52-year-old Rose Christian of Woodland, Hanover, who died on the spot, and her son, 34-year-old Oswald Christian. Reports coming into our news center tonight are that at approximately 2 p.m., Rose and her husband, who operate the Triple Palm restaurant on the border of St. James and Hanover, were at the establishment with their son when 3 men posing as customers entered. The men ordered food, and while being served, they brandished firearms and opened fire, hitting Christian and her son before escaping in a waiting motor vehicle. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, the wounded woman and her son were rushed to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead, and the young man treated and admitted in serious but stable condition. However, he later succumbed to his injuries at 11:30 p.m. In the meantime, a man was fatally shot and 2 other men were shot and injured along Salt Spring Road in St. James yesterday. The deceased has been identified as 24-year-old Akeem Fraser from the Richmond Hill community, Bickersteth in the parish. Reports from the Freeport Police coming into our news center are that at approximately 7:45 p.m., Fraser and 3 other family members, including his father, traveled in a white Toyota Corolla motor vehicle to visit a relative in the vicinity of Salt Spring Road and the Appleton Hall intersection. After their arrival, they were in a conversation with 2 other male relatives who reside at that location when they were pounced upon by men armed with guns who opened fire, hitting Fraser, the driver of the vehicle, as well as one of his relatives. The gunmen escaped in a waiting motor vehicle. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, Fraser and the 2 other wounded victims were rushed to hospital, where he was pronounced dead and the 2 men treated and admitted in critical condition. Still making Mello TV news tonight, Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says there are approximately 25 communities across Jamaica that would qualify for a ZOSO. However, Jamaica does not have the human or capital resources and competences to carry out this type of operation in such a simultaneous manner. Speaking in Parliament yesterday, Minister Chang outlined that given the equally critical levels of criminality in these communities, the society should not limit the tools that are available to the police. He noted that they must put alternative measures in place and provide the critical tools to control the violence until they build out the capacity. Now, Dr. Chang added that the Zone of Special Operations in Savannah-Lamar South is the 7th ZOSO in operation, further explaining that Westmoreland accounted for 128 murders last year, an increase of 60% when compared to the corresponding period in 2020. He said that these acts of criminal violence are largely fueled and financed by lottery scamming, contract killings, and feuds from ill-gotten gains. Still tonight, the Portland police have now charged a man from Boundbrook in the parish in relation to the sexual assault of a 7-year-old girl. The man has been charged with having sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 16 years. It has been reported that the accused, who is a neighbor of the victim, was arrested on Thursday after the mother of the child made a report to the police. The mother had reportedly left the child in the care of the man while she went on an errand. Upon her return, she noticed that her daughter was unwell. The child was rushed to the Port Antonio Hospital, where she was admitted for medical treatment. As we continue with the news tonight, Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie yesterday rejected opposition leader Mark Golding's call for the government to have the one-year postponement of local government elections that were slated to be held by February 27. Mr. Golding floated the idea for a 6-month extension that could lead to Jamaicans heading to the polls sometime in August. Minister McKenzie, however, dismissed the 6-month proposal, hinting that it might spoil the Diamond Anniversary festivities of Jamaica's political independence. In tabling the Representation of the People Act, WRHA 2022, during yesterday's sitting of the House of Representatives, Minister McKenzie said that the coronavirus pandemic militated against the holding of the polls amidst an explosion of the highly transmissible Omicron variant. The election that is expected to take place every 4 years is now postponed for a 1-year period. The most recent staging was on November 28, 2016. 11,500 tablets that will be distributed to students in grades 8 and 9 on the program of advancement through health and education path under the Tablets in Schools TIS project were yesterday handed over to the Ministry of Education. Here is Kelleen May with more on this story.